Hello, today is Wednesday, August 26, 2026. Here is your daily signal. According to Fortune, President Donald Trump is considering a fresh round of tariffs against China, targeting its flood of cheap exports in an effort to safeguard domestic industry without jeopardizing his fragile trade truce or upcoming summit with Xi Jinping. The U.S.-China tariff dispute traces back to 2018, when tariffs were first imposed on over $250 billion in Chinese goods, and it has since roiled supply chains across Asia, North America, and Europe, especially in sectors like robotics and consumer electronics, which heavily depend on Chinese manufacturing and U.S. market demand. U.S. manufacturing giants such as General Electric and robotics pioneers like ABB and Boston Dynamics are among the affected stakeholders, along with logistics players such as FedEx and Maersk. The Office of the United States Trade Representative and China's Ministry of Commerce remain central in shaping this policy landscape. Over the past month, the U.S. Commerce Department reported a 15% drop in American robotics imports from China, highlighting ongoing supply chain strain, while Chinese consumer electronics exports to the United States declined by $1.2 billion in July, according to official customs data. In the near term, U.S. robotics manufacturers may face rising costs and product launch delays as component supply from China becomes less reliable. Similarly, American shoppers could see prices for electronics climb as domestic producers adjust by absorbing higher costs or rethinking their sourcing strategies. Looking medium-term, tariff-induced volatility may drive multinationals to diversify their manufacturing locations, impacting regional economies and encouraging U.S. firms to invest in automation for supply chain resilience, though this risks undermining international cooperation. Next, turning to the front lines of technology and defense in the ongoing U.S.-China strategic competition. Now, reviewing the controversy around the IVO quantum drive, Next Big Future reports that a recent orbital experiment led by IVO Limited yielded a thrust signal, yet the outcome remains hotly debated. Physicist Dr. Mike McCulloch explains that while the result is intriguing, it's uncertain whether the signal represents genuine propulsion or merely an unresolved anomaly. The IVO quantum drive is an experimental propulsion device which claims to generate thrust without using propellant, an idea reminiscent of the highly controversial M drive. IVO began space testing in late 2023, aiming to validate its bold performance claims, and the latest report has reignited debate among aerospace engineers and physicists about the signal's authenticity. Key industry players in the review include IVO Limited under CEO Richard Mansell and prominent scientists such as Dr. Martin Tajmer of TU Dresden and Dr. Harold White, formerly of NASA EagleWorks. NASA and the European Space Agency are closely involved in ongoing technical assessment. IVO recently released a statement asserting their quantum drive produced a micronewton thrust signal in orbit, but TU Dresden's review, published August 25, questioned the accuracy by raising concerns about electromagnetic interference as a possible confounding factor. In the near term, further independent testing may be commissioned by ESA or NASA, potentially postponing IVO's commercial rollout until the anomaly is resolved. If thrust is eventually confirmed, quantum propulsion could revolutionize satellite maneuvering and deep space missions. On the other hand, if determined to be just an anomaly, investor confidence and funding may dwindle for speculative space propulsion startups. Now, onto the markets. International stocks showed mostly positive momentum, with Germany leading gains as EWD surged nearly 6.7% month-on-month and Belgium also posting steady advances. France ended flat for the day, while Spain slipped slightly, with EWP seeing minor losses alongside its month-on-month gains. Among Asia-Pacific names, Taiwan posted the strongest move as EWT climbed over 7.7% since last month, and Indonesia followed closely with IDX rising more than 9%. Commodities saw gold jump on strong month-to-month returns, with GLD up more than 14% and silver held firm as SLV added over 17% from last month. U.S. oil retreated. USO dropped about 4.6% day-on-day despite modest month-on-month growth, while platinum and agriculture eased mildly. For favorites, AMD advanced nearly 5% on the day, MSFT pushed higher by more than 26% over the month, and Nvidia gained about 2% from yesterday. Oracle continued its impressive rally, climbing 20.7% month-on-month. In sectors, the S&P 500 ETF SPY kept its upward trajectory, gaining 3.2% day-on-day, and semiconductors moved up almost 1.5%, with Marvell showing remarkable month-on-month progress. Healthcare benefited with Roman 45 up about 7%, and transportation advanced over 0.5% day-on-day. That's it for today. You can find more news and details on our website. Goodbye.